We've seen text conversations, audio, and video calls, but we've only seen conversations between two people so far in this course. You can also make calls and hold text conversations for larger groups of people, and there are two ways to do that. First, when you start the conversation, you can start by choosing multiple people. So I can click on one person to select them. Then on Windows, I can hold the Control key, or on Mac, I'll hold the Command key. And while I'm holding that, I can click on another person. Now I have two people selected. I could select more, but I'll stick with two for now. Then I'll right-click on one of those two people and choose what type of call I want: an instant message, an audio call, or a video call. I'm going to stick with IM for now, so I'll click on that. And now we see a familiar interface. I can send those text-based messages, but these messages go to everybody in the group. At the top of the window, it says there are 3 participants, and I can see the names of the other 2 people. And from here, I could type in my message. Both people will receive a notification, and they can choose whether they want to accept the call. And of course, any of the other participants can respond. So that's one way to do a conversation with several people. The other option would be to start with a one-on-one conversation and then add more people. So for now, I'm going to close this window to close this conversation. And this time I want to choose only one person. So I'm just going to select a single person, and I'm going to stick with the instant message for now. I could do this with an audio or a video call, but I'll stick with text for now. I'll double click on this person to start the conversation. And of course, at the top, it says there are 2 participants, and I can see the name of the other person. I could go ahead and send my message, or I could choose to add some more participants. To do that, I'll go up to this button near the top right corner. It looks like a silhouette with a little plus button. I'll click on that, and here I see a few things. There's a search field, so I can search for anybody in my organization, or I could just choose one of the recent people who I've talked to. So I could go to the search field, type in the name of somebody in my organization, and I could add them. But for now, I'm just going to close this, and to make it easier, I'm just going to stick with Leah. So I'll choose her. I'll hit OK. She's been added to the conversation. Now it says there are 3 participants, and I can see the 2 names up there at the top. And that's it. I can even add more people to the conversation later, or any of the other participants can add somebody later. So now you might be wondering how to do that for an audio or a video call. Well, you already know how it works because it works exactly the same, but let's see it. For now, I'm going to close this window, and again, I'm going to start a conversation with multiple people. So I'll select one, hold the Control key or Command key on Mac, select a second person, right-click on one of these people. Instead of doing an IM, this time I could do an audio or a video call. Let's just stick with an audio call. So I'm going to go to Start a Conference Call, and then I'll choose Skype Call. Now the other participants will get a notification and they can accept the call. So now I can see both of those other people have accepted this invitation. And now we can have a normal call through audio. Now you'll see both of those other users currently have their microphone muted. That's just because I'm using some demo accounts here in my recording booth. There are no actual people there, but we can see how that works. So I can do it that way, or let's do it the other way. Let's end this call. So I'll hit the hang up button here. Now that I've ended the audio call, it reverts back to the normal text conversation. I'm going to close this. Because I want to see the other option, I could start with only one person. So let's start an audio call with this person. In a moment, he'll answer that call. So now I have a regular audio call taking place between 2 people. I can see 2 participants up here at the top. I can click on this icon to see a list of the participants. I'll close that again. And let's add a new participant. It works the same as what we saw in the text conversation. I can hit this button near the top right. I could do a search, or I could just choose the person from this recents list. I'll click on her name, hit OK. Now she's been added to the call, and when she answers, I can see she's here on this list, and now I have a call of 3 participants. So that's how it works, and I don't even need to show you how that works for video because it looks exactly the same as what we just did. When you're on a one-to-one Skype call, the call will end as soon as either person hangs up, but it's a little different on a group call. In a group call like this, if one person hangs up, which I'll do now here on my screen, the conversation is still active, and I can rejoin the conversation by hitting this rejoin button here. That's because one person leaving the conversation is not going to end the call for everybody. Even if all of the participants hang up, as long as at least one person still has this conversation window open, you can always come back and hit rejoin. So if I hit rejoin, both of those people are still in the call, so I'm just jumping back in. And when I'm finished, I can hit the hang up button again. Before I do that, let's see what it looks like when somebody else leaves the call. So Stuart will hang up. It shows me that he has left the meeting. In a moment, Leah will hang up. And now I'm left in this conversation all by myself. So I'm just going to hang up and I'll close the window. So you might be wondering how many people you can have active in a call at one time. According to Microsoft, a meeting can support up to 250 people on the call. But for video calls, your network connection might limit you to a smaller number. You may need to experiment before you figure out your top end, but you should be able to fit a lot of simultaneous connections in one call. Spontaneous calls like this are not exactly the same as a scheduled meeting, but the technology behind them are basically the same. We're going to talk about scheduled meetings in another chapter. But for quick calls and text conversations, you should have no problem talking to several people at the same time.